So here we are again. Yeah, I've taken a bit of a break on recording because, the big beautiful bill and there was a lot of tariff stuff going on and work got in the way. But the events in Texas, I had to. I just had to because the Texas officials are saying like nobody could have predicted this and we couldn't have seen this coming. And we could have. There have been multiple instances just the last 3 months where the cuts to the National Weather Service have directly resulted in the loss of property and life. All the way back to Kentucky tornadoes. And it's just continuing. How long do we have to do this? Christy Noe, Ice Barbie, she is stating in this press conference that, they're just updating the technology. Well, okay, but for the most part, everything worked prior to January. So what was the big change from January to 2 days ago? I'm thinking, just off the top of my head, it's the fact that they cut the National Weather Service. Just a thought. Maybe that had something to do with it. Or maybe, just maybe, her bragging just a month ago of gutting $885 million in disaster preparedness out of the FEMA budget, which falls under, I think it falls under her in the DHS. But she removed that so that local officials and stuff do no longer get grants for disaster preparedness. So great. I think it's, I don't want to, they're still looking for people. I haven't seen any, Trump's golfing. Trump was golfing again, which he's done about almost a quarter of his presidency so far. He's been golfing. So while Russia's bombing Ukraine, he's golfing. While tornadoes are ripping through Kentucky, he's golfing. In her own state, her own former state, while tornadoes are ripping through there, he's golfing. With some side trips in order to open up like these mass detention facilities in Alligator. I mean, some people are calling it Alligator Auschwitz. Some people are calling it Alligator Alcatraz. They're selling merchandise. Could you imagine the outcry? Like, I don't know, in the 1960s, maybe in the 1970s, let's say if Nixon were selling T-shirts and hats that said Hanoi or bust. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. It is the weirdest thing. It is like a combination of professional wrestling and a county fair, like entered the White House. I mean, there's going to be a UFC event on the White House lawn. Is that why he's paving over the Rose Garden? JFK's Rose Garden, where he walked out during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now we're paving that over for a UFC event, maybe? I don't know. Is that why he's doing it? Regardless, we're off topic. We'll go back to that. I mean, those are whole other videos. There's so many videos that you could do because it just never ends. And I get people are tired and they don't want to watch it. And I even took a break. But the mainstream media is captured. ABC just rolled over, or CBS or whoever. They all have, really. But 60 Minutes, they're settling with them. So that's a cash payment because Lady Redstone needs her money. And the merger or the sale of it is being held hostage based on her good behavior. Fox News might as well be North Korean media. I mean, seriously, if you work there, how you have any type of self-respect, I don't know. Because you're no better than these North Korean people who claim like, Kim Il-sung, yeah, that's the father. He's rest in peace. Well, he's dead anyway. hit a hole in one on every hole when he played golf, and then he just decided he'd never have to play again. That's the type of thing where the people are crying on air. Ooh. Fox News is like one step away from that. Or like the greatest president of all time. Really, come on. You know, getting back to the Texas floods. I mean, it's latest update today. Just a little bit ago. Oh, my ratio's off there. Texas floods leave at least 51 dead. So it's gone up since last update, obviously. The girls from that camp are still missing. It's a tragedy. It's an absolute tragedy. And you can never prove a negative, and you cannot go back in the past. So we can't say that, I mean, this place has had floods before. It's flood prone. The ground is very dry, and then they get a lot of rain at one time. So, it is prone to flooding. But can we say for sure that if there weren't a more, if the National Weather Service office that's nearby is one of those that is at like 50% staffing levels, can we say that if they were fully staffed, this would have happened? Again, you can't prove a negative, but it stands to reason that if they were fully staffed and looking at this thing, that maybe an hour additional notice, maybe two, maybe they could have gotten to people that had no cell phones or anything else. I gather I saw in another place where they were only posting these warnings on social media. So, but Abbott declared Sunday a day of prayer for the victims, which is nice. Thoughts and prayers, those are important. Of course, after a delay of about 24 hours and realized just where it hit, and it's Texas. Homeland Security and the federal government raced in response, where they didn't for Kentucky. They didn't for Southern Indiana. They haven't for California. Well, other than to send Marines into Los Angeles, but that's beside the point. They totally cut off Western North Carolina from the hurricane last fall, which he got hit was a big point during the election, was how the federal government was not helping these people in Western North Carolina. And the current administration, who ran on that the Biden administration was not helping these people in Western North Carolina, cut off all their funding. Just done. So we really are on our own. I mean, I don't know if you look around here. I mean, the weather has been crazy lately. Tornadoes in places that just don't normally have them. North Dakota, Minnesota. And at the same time, we have a federal government that is feckless, incompetent, and determined to leave us on our basically, so long, thanks for all the fish. You're on your own. So there's a bit of going back and forth between the officials of this county in Texas and National Weather Service. National Weather Service is saying they did tell them that there was a flash flood. They had a good 3-4 hours notice. The officials on the ground there are saying they were just told it would be a few inches of rain and that's it. So this will come out later on. But Chip Roy, after voting for that big, beautiful bill to basically strip all the funding out of all this, and amongst other really nasty things, says it's a once-in-a-century flood. Well, I mean, these once-in-a-century things are occurring pretty regularly right now. So that's the latest news on that one. And then we have, and here, this was a knowable event. We knew this was going to happen. And I happen to really like this weather guy. He's almost like a weather prodigy, I guess. His name is Max. I mean, I don't know his real name. I mean, his channel name is Max Velocity on YouTube. And he's great. And and say what it will. I mean, the guy is absolutely non-political. He's not brought up the National Weather Service stuff or anything else. But during Kentucky, he goes live during all these weather events, and he was live during the Texas floods with that storm pattern there. And he was also caught that really unusual tornado in North Dakota last week, which is just the craziest tornado I've ever seen captured on camera. I mean, this thing was nuts. But I remember him talking, because we were watching it, because we have family members in Kentucky. And so we were watching his channel while he was talking about this tornado in Kentucky, and just the bewilderment and consternation and concern of a guy who normally isn't. I mean, this guy sees weather events and tornadoes on the ground, just like, hey, look, give me another chip. But this was an interesting one, and I clipped it. So full credit to Max Velocity. This was his live stream.
Let's hope it includes before then, but this is a potentially significant tornado that could impact a fairly populated area. The debris signature here is still pretty large, right over Norfleet in Burnetta, and it's going to be moving into Nancy within the next couple minutes in Chipola. Right? I can't believe we don't at least have a PDS on this. I mean, this is a significant tornado. Again, it's nighttime. There are people sleeping. And unfortunately, there will be people that have no clue that this is happening, and they might be sleeping right through it. I mean, honestly, like, tornado emergency isn't even impossible at this either. I mean, this is a significant tornado. And I know we are still on a technically radar-indicated tornado warning, but this is a significant tornado. I cannot stress that enough. This is going to cause, or is already causing, major damage, and that's going to continue possibly all the way up to Somerset, maybe even further than that. Also, this is about to hit Nancy, and it's literally hitting Nancy in the next couple minutes. This is a debris ball that is being picked up on radar. So this is about to hit many different locations in the town of Nancy, and then eventually going into Oil Center, Ringgold, and as well as Somerset. Again, I cannot believe that we don't have a P.
I think the most important point on a lot of this video is just how he's just wondering, why aren't they issuing a notice? Why aren't they issuing a notice? Like, this is an obviously, tornado emergency. Why isn't the National Weather Service updating people and activating the alarms? And that's where your cell phone goes off and everything else. So just bear in mind, that's kind of the point of this.
Still, or at least a upgrade to the warning. This is a significant tornado right now coming up on Somerset. I'm going to go back to the northern radar site. That dark blue, though, is very reminiscent of at least a significant tornado, either strong or intense right now, moving up towards Oak Hill. I am getting relayed this report that the National Weather Service of Jackson, Kentucky is severely understaffed, which is why warnings are either delayed or not being upgraded, which would explain this. So apparently the National Weather Service of Jackson is one of the most understaffed offices. So that is why this has not been upgraded. But I mean, man, this is a significant tornado. I mean, this debris signature is huge. Hard to gauge the exact size of this tornado just by looking at debris on radar, but the debris signature on radar is currently expansive of about 2.3 miles or so, which again, the tornado is not that large, but you get the idea that this is pretty significant tornado. This does meet the criteria, I believe, for a tornado emergency, or at least it's close to it. Yeah, this does meet the criteria for a tornado emergency for Somerset. So we've already crossed the threshold of a tornado emergency, and there's not even an upgrade to an observed warning here.
You can see he's just getting more and more agitated as it goes on, because he knows that there are people in the path of this thing that are not.
I mean, I can't stress enough. It is a significant tornado. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's a major tornado moving into Somerset over the next 5 minutes. Please, if you have any friends or family, please get the word out there. Share this on Twitter, whatever you got to do. Like, get the word out there, because, I mean, again, people are probably sleeping, and it still says radar indicated, and people that live in Somerset or Ferguson might not have a clue that this is on the ground. If they look at their phone real quick on the Weather Channel app and they don't have a clue what the radar is even showing them, like, they might literally just go back to bed. Right? Like, you need to make sure that if you have Ferguson.
Even references in one part that, that's the National Weather Service that's nearby that place was not even open. It's one of the worst, the hardest hit. And that's why that there was no warning that went out. So now that happened in May, and it's not improved. So what do we get for our tax dollars? I mean, this is one of those things that are just fundamental. We should be getting this. Why aren't we? Because the Doge cuts, why haven't they restored it? I mean, we just added another 3 trillion or 4 trillion to the debt, which will never pay off now, for nothing. We get less services now, and that's not right. I mean, it isn't. We can't prove a negative. We can't say that if it was a fully funded office and everything else, everybody would have gotten notice and nobody would have gotten. There would be nobody missing from these floods. We can't say that. But I think we can all agree that this is one of those things. If there's a tornado in our area, we want to be notified. If there's a possibility of flash flooding, we should get it on our phones. We should get something. And it's not this mealy mouth thing from Christy. No, well, we're updating the technology because it was woefully undermanaged by the previous administration. Trump was the previous administration. I mean, what, 4 years of Biden is suddenly going to fix the National Weather Service? It worked fine before. It worked fine during the first Trump administration. So what changed in the last 4 months? Gee, I wonder. Anyway, that's all, folks. Please hit like and subscribe. Appreciate it.